Most people think building the best stereo setup means choosing the right speakers. True, but you have just solved half your problem. What happens when you have the wrong amplifier paired with it, the wrong room, or even the wrong placement? So I'm here to tell you what's the best system you can choose, and I'm going to do that by using the Polk R200 bookshelves and the Denon Home Amp. Welcome back to Inside AV with ProFX, where we talk about everything that's related to audio, video, and automation. In our previous episode, we spoke about wireless hi-fi. In this episode, we're going to talk about stereo setup, because we get a lot of questions asked: what makes the best stereo setup? Will a soundbar do? How many subwoofers do I need to have? How big should my room be? So it entirely depends on the kind of music you listen to. And in this episode, we're going to break it down for you. So today in front of me, I have the Polk R200 bookshelves and the Denon Home Amp. A few very important factors about these speakers is that the right cabinet size, the right driver size, and the right placement will make a lot of difference in terms of the wide angle high frequency drive that you hear and the compact bass or even the tight bass that you're looking for. The amplifier that we have here is a big modern change from the earlier amplifiers that we used to see. Means it's compact but yet powerful. It also has a lot of features built into it, a lot of connectivities. You also have app controls, it has streamers for all your wireless music content. So these are one of the perfect combinations that we would recommend. So before I get into the specifications of these two products, let me break it down on what stereo actually means. So basically stereo means two speakers, left and right. And they're so important because when you go to a concert or you listen to any music, you also feel that the artist is in the center, you have the drummer on your right or the guitarist on your left. So it's basically that sound stage that you create. The two speakers are so important that you have them placed left, right, and toe them towards your seating, that you actually hear the dialogues coming out from the stage, you hear the separations between this. These are the two things that you can never get from a small compact Bluetooth speaker or maybe one of those sound bars that you have at home. Two good bookshelf speakers, or any speaker for that matter, a tower or bookshelf, will open up that sound stage. So we always recommend to have stereo when it comes to music. The right placement, the right speaker, the right amp will make wonders to what you listen to. So let's begin with the speakers. The speakers I was talking about, the R200, comes from the Reserve series lineup, and this is the R200 bookshelves. The bookshelves are an amazing combination because the main parts of what it has is it has a 6.5-inch turbine cone drive, which means it can handle very rigid bass and at a very good volume. It also has a 1-inch pinnacle ring radiator tweeter. So these ring radiator tweeters also handle that very high frequency at the lowest amount of distortion. The speaker is also built with a very deep cabinet, which means it can also go lower into the bass. So as amazing as the Polk speakers are, they are still passive, which means you do need an amplifier to drive them. And what better amp than the Denon Home Amp? This amplifier has tons of features in terms of what connectivities you can use and how compact it can be for the power it delivers. These have two Class D amplifications of 100 per channel, which means they can drive the most demanding speakers. They also have connectivity options, which are eARC ports for your TV audio. You also have analog inputs, which means you still can connect your old turntables to this. It also gives you subwoofer out for those who want that extra low frequency effect. And the amp is also controlled by a lot of features in terms of online streaming into like Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, and so on. The amp has its own app which called HEOS, which means you can pair them with different EOS and create multi-room sound. The amp also has various options of support. You can integrate them with different automation products. You also can integrate them with your voice commands using Alexa and so on. So this amp is like one compact amplifier but with many features built into it. So now let's talk about pairing, because this is a very important subject. We get a lot of questions asked about, can I use any amp with any speakers? Technically sometimes yes, but in most cases it all depends to a lot of factors, because first, the very important factor is the kind of music you listen to, the kind of volume you listen to. There are some clients of ours who like a lot of bass, there are some who want the wider sound stage. So it comes down to a lot of factors that we first tell them to choose the best speaker to match your listening music and your room. Then comes down to the amplifiers, because the speakers are very demanding. You need to push the speakers, you need to have proper power from the amplifiers. There's not every time that you always want to play your system at high volume. You always need that detailed note at the low volume listening. So you come back home and you just want to relax to soft music. Your amplifier needs to have enough power to push your speakers at any given volume so that you get the complete range of frequencies to do it. And what better ways are combinations that we have in front of us, the Polk R200 and the Denon Home Amp. So we have found these to be the perfect combination in terms of both enjoying each other in terms of how they can drive one another well. So moving on to the next important thing is the wattage, because this is something that's get a lot of people confused. You have an amp that's 100 watts and a speaker that's 100 and you're done. But there are a lot of things to look for in the system. Because when you look at a speaker that says 100 at what impedance, 100 at what sensitivity, because speakers have different kind of specifications in terms of how loud they can be, how much current they need from the amplifier. And like I said, very, very important is your room and your listening position, because this is going to determine on whether your amp can push the speakers and whether your speaker can deliver that perfect sound for your room. So now let's talk about acoustics, which means basically your room, because you're not buying a system that's out of the box, you're designing a system for your room. The most important place that you will be spending most of the time listening to these amazing speakers. So why we tend to take this as that many importance is because there are a lot of things that can make your system sound good, great or bad. So if you imagine you have a lot of glass that gives you 100% reflection, which means we'll be getting good high frequency but too much of reflection. If you have too much of absorptions like your carpet, your curtains and sofas, it's going to absorb a lot of those bassy tracks. You might find the system a little too warm. So it's not about how the system works with each other, it's also how it works with your listening position and the acoustics in your room. So that's why we always tend to build the system based on where you're seating, how the room should be built, and how important every single detail matters to get that perfect tune of sound. It's also very important to follow a few basic thumb rules on how wide your speakers should be from each other to get that perfect balance of stereo sound. How high your speakers should be, whether you're having it on a table or a good pair of stands, because the tweeters on these speakers, or any speaker for that matter, are all designed at that ear level on your seating position. It's not on where you're standing. So these speakers have to be positioned at the right angles so that you get the best high frequency sound when you're sitting. And also the wider speakers help in terms of creating a much wider sound stage. So placements in terms of positions and in terms of the room acoustics are all part of the system that you go for. So these are something that matches and makes the perfect stereo setup. So a few more tips from my side. The speaker placements are something that you should really take serious notes about. The speakers are made of a lot of different materials, like this one here uses MDF cabinets, which means they will create a kind of resonance around them. And if you want to hear less of that and have a wider sound stage, it's always important to keep the speakers a little away from the wall. The height of the speakers is also very important. The tweeter needs to be at your ear levels so that you get every detailed note at any given volume that you're playing. It's also important on how wide the speakers are. So we recommend to have a triangle shape, so between the right speaker, left speaker and you, giving you that perfect placement of sound stage. So it's always that one sound stage that you always strive for when you listen to something that's more dialogue based, something that's more wide stage oriented. So these are few tips that are very, very important. The amplifier also is a lot of importance to taking care of about how you place it, where you place it, because it has a lot of heat dispersion. The amp needs to freely be connected to your system. The cables need to run as a certain length from each other. You don't have to coil the extra wires. The HDMI connectivities and any other cables that you have, keep them away from your power line so you don't carry any outside interference to your amplifier, which gives you those unwanted sounds that you listen to. So all the connectivities are recommended to have them as wired as possible. Your musics are always free to use on your streaming devices and also with wired options. Another question we get asked about is, do you actually need a subwoofer with the system? It all again comes down to the kind of room size that you have, the kind of music you listen to, or if you just want that extra thump at low volumes, or if you're watching a movie and you want that kind of a bomb blast effect. The subwoofer is also a very helpful part of the system. We do recommend to have a subwoofer that has the options of giving you what kind of a bass you want, because these R200 bookshelves already have a good impactful bass in the system. So the subwoofer needs to just do the extension of that. So very, very important is pairing your sub and speakers. You should always feel that the speaker and the sub is coming together. You should not feel that, okay, I'm getting the bass from one corner and it's not giving me that proper stereo separation. So the subwoofer placement and the subwoofer control that you have is also very important. So who's the system for? This is for those serious stereo listeners who don't want to compromise on listening to their favorite music from, say, Bluetooth speakers or soundbars. These systems are flexible to work with multi-different room size. They also work well with separated combinations, which means amplifier and speakers gives you more flexibility on how you can actually control the sound. The amplifier also gives you flexibility of adding that sub, so you don't just feel you're lost with just two speakers and you want that extension of bass, so now I'm watching a movie and I want that impact. So these are flexible to work with a lot of different options. So anyone who's looking for that stereo setup, our recommendation is always listen to a pair of bookshelves, a towers, a decent amplifier, and you get to hear that best sound that you like. Go for it. Because these systems are not something that I tell you and you buy, it's something that you actually listen to. Spend time on it, listen to your favorite tracks on these systems, and I'm very sure you will enjoy this combination we have. So this system is not for those who are actually looking at something for a much larger room. You want that more powerful areas to cover up. I would recommend to try out some of their tower speaker ranges or some of the other options that you can actually build to get a much wider soundstage for the even demanding high big rooms that you have. It's also not for those who don't want to see too many wires. They want something that's more compact or something that's wireless. Do look at the other options that we have. And it's also not for those who are looking at, more of home theater than the stereo setup. Because Denon does have a lot of AV options and a lot of channels to support your multi-channel AV or home theater kind of listening. These are systems that are perfect for someone who wants that serious stereo listening. But if your room is demanding, or you are demanding higher volumes, higher bass, and more of home theater experience, do check out our other options that we have. So Art ProFX is not just about the products, it's about complete solution. And what I mean by that is we always understand the requirement from you. Where we sit down, we talk to you about your requirements, understand the kind of music you listen to, and design the perfect system for your room. So right from the kind of products that we give you, everything matters. The amplifiers, the speakers, even the cables that you buy. The entire integration also needs to be matched. So our technical team are there right from the start to provide the entire wiring layout for you to get that best setup at your home. So it's not about just the product selling, it's the complete solution that you get from us. So that brings us to the end of this video. We spoke about a lot of things from the products like Polk R200 and the Denon Amp. We also gave you a few tips on your placements, technical specifications. So if you want to know more about our product lineup, do meet our team where we will assist you with a lot of product range that we have. Do subscribe to our channel, and if you want to watch more of these videos, visit our Inside AV with ProFX. Hope you enjoyed this one. Until the next one, happy listening.